Thank you.
So today we'll start off with happy thoughts, although I think we're all just happy with touching base with each other. I'm going to start off. My happy thought is a truck pulled up to the Rotary office this morning with 50 cases of bingo boxes, and want to thank Moira, Tony, Jennifer, Rick. Poor Moira just happened to be making a drop off at the same time the truck was there, and she just jumped right in, and we moved all 50 boxes into 2 different areas of the Forsyth building, and we were color coding and sorting things out and just making sure that hopefully we've got them all in the right places for dealing with them as we go on. So that was a big job, and thank you very much for those that participated. Let's see, anybody else with a happy thought? Andy Watson, please.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's a happy thought or not, but the groceries arrived here this morning because we ordered them, and they made a little error. You order 10 bananas, you don't order 10 kilograms of bananas.
Oh.
But anyway, there were 3 or 4 times that we needed, and the fellow they took it back. But it's kind of an amusing thing, and that happens once in a while.
Oh, that's not 10 bananas, that's 10 kilograms of bananas.
Yeah, it's a whole box full.
Wow.
I foresee a lot of banana bread in your future.
Yeah. Jennifer?
Yeah, Tony and I have planted a serviceberry, which is indigenous to Chatham-Kent, and our coneflowers all around it. We're just going to be so indigenously organized.
And what's that supposed to attract?
All kinds of caterpillars that then fall out.
Indoor coffee.
Indoor, yeah. fall down into the garden below, which is also indigenous, and then the birds eat them.
Well, if we can get back to a regular meeting, we're all going to have to swing by your place again and have a good look.
You're invited, yes.
Anytime.
And anybody else with a happy thought? Mary, and then Rick.
Well, first off, Jennifer, I like the name of that tree, bush.
Yeah, have him talk to Dave.
Oh, hang on, I'm going to mute him.
Yeah, he will be.
So 10 days ago, you may have heard regarding the Rotary Eco Trail that the counter that was put in there last October 15th wound up being vandalized.
Oh.
And I called the municipality. Well, what was the last? And I had people call me on that Sunday morning very early saying that there had been damage the night before, and good contacts out there. And so I called the municipality wondering what the last number was on the counter, keeping in mind the time from mid-October through to 10 days ago on the weekend. The counter read 39,000 walkers. That's 39,000. Just unbelievable.
It is unbelievable.
And talking with the municipality this morning, it's an insurance claim, so they're fully intending to put the counter back up again.
Now, if we can just keep people away from the darn thing, but hard to count if you're not right there and available. Rick Budnerick.
Going through archives for the 100th anniversary, I shouldn't be doing that. But anyway, I came across some stuff that was a lot of stuff that's interesting, but a little bit of sadness too, as somebody commented. I'll give you 2 items here. This is the Charter Night, the Rotary Club of Wallaceburg. That's June 15th, 1945 at the Wallaceburg Hotel. And of course, gone but not forgotten. And I'll just read here, there was a big time in Thamesville Wednesday night with some 300 Rotarians, members of 27 clubs in Western Ontario and Michigan, assembled in the gardens at the Ferguson Opera House to do honor to the newly organized Thamesville Rotary Club when it receives its official charter. And that's in the Thamesville Herald, 27th of March, 1936. Both now gone, unfortunately.
Well, Rick, I want you to keep doing what you're doing, because just having all these little tidbits, I really quite enjoy it. So stay busy at it, and keep us posted with one or two of those a week. It's I think it's fun, and with next year being our 100th year, we'll make you a regular on the itinerary here, the agenda.
Oh, there's lots of stuff.
Oh, there is tons. I quite enjoy it. Any other happy thoughts out there? Andy, you're back?
Yeah, one of the things that happened this week was there were 4 wild turkeys that were out in our Christmas trees walking along the river, and one of them actually flew up into one of the big trees and roosted. I didn't know. I mean, I know there are areas that have wild turkeys, but I had never seen them on the ground here before. But there were 4 of them, and one of them right up at the top of the tree and stayed there for quite a while.
Oh, wow. That's a big bird to be sitting in the top of a tree.
It was a big bird to be sitting on the top of the tree. There was no doubt what it was.
Yeah. Donna?
I don't know if this is good news, but I'm just thinking about Andy's story. And in Windsor, there's that turkey that really regularly holds up traffic. And I'm just starting to see that in Wheatley, where there's a lot moving around. And sometimes they just plant themselves in the road, pull out their tails, and will not let you go by.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize they would do that.
Yeah. Detour.
Okay, last call. Allison, please.
A wild turkey came up and ate at our bird feeder in Rondo last summer. So I was like, what's that? And it was so big. I'm like, is that even a bird? Yeah, it's a bird. It just walks like a human towards the bird feeder and like filled it. I was stunned. I was literally speechless watching my little tiny birds. Then this guy just
comes.
Then he just walked back into the forest, and I never saw him again. I was surprised. So I'm not surprised they saunter around the streets and
wow,
do whatever they want.
Okay, last call. Peter.
Since we're talking about big birds, just a few days ago, we had 6 vultures that were actually lined up to eat a dead muskrat. And of course, I let David Barr know, and he was over within a minute to take photographs of them. We didn't realize what it was eating, but David, with his 1 meter long lens, can zoom in to see the gory part of the muskrat. It's actually on Easter Sunday. He avoided posting it for a few days because he didn't think it was a really inappropriate Easter posting.
I followed David's post, and I did see a picture. At that point, he just put 1 plus the carcass there. I saw somebody else's hand pop up there. Barry.
Well, Brett, I'm looking at my screen here. I see roughly 6 wild turkeys sitting right in front of me.
You do you? Okay. Now we'll move on. As we mentioned before, our birthdays for the month are Andy Watson. Diane McGuigan is here. Diane, happy birthday. And Colin McGregor. And Diane, we're getting close to your birthday, April 17. Andy was April 1 and Colin's April 22. And then our club anniversaries, Tom Story and Jerry Bellinger were hitting the 38-year mark. Got Janet McGuigan Kelly at 27 years. Jennifer and Tony Hill, 8. Ed Robbins, 21. Paul Mayran, 22. Gordon Jane Fry, 7 years. So congratulations to all, especially those that are here and with us. So for today, it's my pleasure. The mental health group has been talking to CMHA for some time, working on a project, and pleased to say that a lot of contacts and getting Taylor on call here several times. I think we've got a pretty good project on the go. This is Taylor Cloutier from CMHA Lambton, Kent. Taylor, you're actually based, are you in Sarnia area?
I'm at the Sarnia branch. We're CMHA Lambton, Kent. So we, run from all the Sarnia, Lambton County, as well as Chatham, Kent, but I am located in Sarnia, but back working from home for now.
Yes. Well, we just want to let everybody know that the Rotary Clubs of Chatham, Kent have all signed up to be a sponsor this year of the event Ride, Don't Hide. And of course, if you don't ride, you can walk, which is going to be my form of transportation. And I'm going to ask Taylor to jump in and tell us a bit about what's going on with CMHA, as well as preliminary information that is now out where we can get you registered for the Ride Don't Hide event. Taylor, if you would.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Brett. And thanks everybody for taking some time to listen to me today. So I'm just going to share my screen. Hopefully everything works here. Can everyone see that okay?
Looks good.
All good. Okay, great. So like Brett mentioned, my name is Taylor and I'm the mental health promoter at CMHA Lambton, Kent. So I'm going to do an overview about mental health and let you kind of know, just kind of what's going on in our communities in terms of COVID and how that's really impacted mental health and kind of what we're seeing within our organization. And then we'll get into Ride Don't Hide as well. So just to give, in case there's people who aren't really familiar with CMHA, we have a lot of branches throughout Ontario, really. And again, like I said, we have a branch in Sarnia and also in Chatham, so 2 main offices there. So our main vision really is mentally healthy people in a healthy society. So we have a lot of resources and programs that are really designed to help people, whether they're struggling with their mental health or maybe they've been diagnosed with a mental illness. And all of our programs are really recovery based. So we really want to try to help people who might be struggling to meet their goals and really, live a really productive life. So I like to just do an overview because I find that sometimes we get kind of confused as to maybe what mental health is versus what mental illness is. And a lot of times I hear people using these terms kind of interchangeably. So when we look at mental health, it's important to know that you really can't have physical health without mental health, right? So it's such a big aspect, as I'm sure all of you know the importance of mental health. But when we look at mental health, we're really talking about our mental well-being. So our thoughts and our feelings and how we kind of deal with difficult things that we might face in our life. So how we really cope with those things. But when we look at mental illness, we're specifically talking about a wide range of different illnesses that unfortunately can affect people, the way that they think, the way they feel, and then in turn, the way that they behave. There's a wide range of different mental illnesses, and at CMHA, we kind of help people along the way with a wide range, like I said. And these symptoms of this all affect people very differently. And we see that, through the course of helping individuals. And so it's important to know that not all of us will struggle with a mental illness, but we can guarantee we all will struggle with our mental health or our mental well-being. So at one point or another, we're going to face some challenges. And mental health it's not about just being happy 100% of the time, but it's really just being aware. How can I cope with what I'm facing, especially when we look at COVID? How can I deal with this in a really effective way that's good for my mental health? So I wanted to mention some myths that we kind of commonly hear with mental illness and mental health. These things are kind of floating around our communities. I hear them all the time, but a lot of time, unfortunately, in media, we hear these myths. So one of them is that mental illnesses are rare, when in fact, 1 in 5 people will experience a mental health issue. So they're not rare. And when we compare them to other health conditions, we really can see that they aren't rare at all. Another one is that people with mental illnesses are violent and dangerous. So we'll see this a lot depicted in TV and movies that we watch, right? They'll kind of maybe depict the person as crazy, or, you know, don't go around them because they might be dangerous. But studies have shown that actually people who suffer with mental illnesses, they are the ones that are more likely to be victims of violence themselves. So really important, if you hear these kind of things floating around, we're trying our best to raise awareness about mental health and debunk these myths. The last one is that mental illness, people with mental illnesses will never get better and they can't lead productive lives. So most mental illnesses are lifelong and chronic, just like a lot of physical conditions are as well. But there's so many treatments available, and CMHA offers a lot of them, whether that be medication or counseling. And because of that, people with mental illnesses can lead productive lives. They can set goals and they can meet those goals. So we're going to dive a little bit into COVID and what that kind of looked like for our organization. So when the pandemic first started, we did transition to virtual care, but the entire time we have maintained in-person care for our clients. So like I said, through the entire pandemic, we've continued with that, and we've really collaborated with a lot of partners to really increase access to clients because COVID caused a lot of barriers, right? So with this, we initially kind of saw a decrease in our volume of clients, but now we are experiencing a significant increase with our programs. So we try not to have wait lists, but unfortunately we've been faced with so many people reaching out for help that we have had increased amount of volume coming into CMHA. Oh, sorry, I just was reading the chat. Okay. So I'm sure we're all aware of the impact, but more specifically, when we look at the impact locally, we see just an overall increase of isolation and loneliness. So we know when the pandemic first started, and as we're continuing again into a lockdown, one of the best defense mechanisms against COVID was to unfortunately distance ourselves from others. So not socially, but physically, and that causes a lot of isolation. And then just the fear of unknown, like what's going to happen next. None of us are really sure. So that brought out a lot of anxiety and stress and worry. And we kind of saw that in many of our clients, and not to mention all the adjustments. So working from home, or, you know, helping your children at home because they're not in school. So with all of this, we saw a lot of substance use increase. We've seen a lot of domestic violence numbers increase as well. Increase to our crisis call line, eating disorders. So all of these things, of course, CMHA has faced them in the past, but they're even more prevalent now, unfortunately. So CMHA Ontario, they really wanted to create a campaign to kind of bring to the media's attention, to let them know how much COVID has impacted our communities. So they looked at Ontarians specifically and did some polls, whether that be a couple times throughout the pandemic. So I just wanted to share some of those results. So we saw an overall decline in mental health, of course, no surprise there. But when we look at the polls, in spring of 2020, 52% of Ontarians said they had good mental health. And then by the summer, that went down to 48%. And now in March, we're at 35%. So 35% of Ontarians say they have good mental health. That's really low. In 2019, it was up at 80%. So we went from 80 to 35. And we're looking again, obviously, at the pandemic as the main cause of this. So pretty sad stats, but we can just see that overall mental health has declined significantly. The poll also looked at stress and anxiety. And again, no surprise, those levels were high. So 36% of Ontarians report very high stress, and the same amount are saying very high anxiety. The next one that they looked at was depression, loneliness, and isolation. So 17% of Ontarians reported that they were always or very often depressed, and that's an increase from the spring. And 36% are often or very often, almost always lonely. So again, just some pretty sad stats, but important ones that we really need to look at, and how are we going to really deal with this. The last one I wanted to mention was accessing care. So CMHA and all these different community organizations have such great programs, but we saw that 35% of people trying to access support are finding it difficult, but 70% found supports helpful. So once they actually found those supports, they were helpful, but it's just sometimes getting to that point. And 88% of Ontarians believe that mental health will worsen the longer this pandemic continues. And another stat was 80% of Ontarians believe we are in a mental health crisis, which I would have to agree with that. So, all these things bring up the question of where do we go from here? So specifically, when we look at CMHA, we are just continuing to work together with all the community organizations to ensure that every door is an open door to services. So if we have someone come into CMHA and there might be something that specific that we can't help them with, we would never turn them down. We would always support them in whatever way and then direct them maybe to another service. So we've developed a lot of partnerships to be able to kind of refer those clients. And we've increased our public messaging. So I run all of our social media accounts, and I was hired in November. And since then it's been full force COVID awareness, where to get help, getting help now. So we're really trying to advocate for the services that we have. So when we look at what help is out there, of course, CMHA, but I also like to remind people that if they have somebody that they know and they love and they need to reach out for help, that primary care providers like your family doctor or NP can be a really great resource to connect you to all different types of mental health resources within the community. So utilize that service if you do have a family doctor or an NP. Our local hospitals have really great programs as well. So Blue Water Health and Chatham-Kent Health Alliance. We have specific child and youth supports like Access Open Minds, St. Clair Child and Youth, Chatham Services, Children's Services, Chatham-Kent. And then we have a wide range because of COVID now of different virtual programs as well that are available 24/7 for individuals. So you might be asking, like, how would I get connected, or how could I connect somebody with CMHA? And anyone can connect and anyone can refer to CMHA. So family, friend support, physician, we are open to anybody. And the best way to get started is using our first response team. I'll make sure that I include all the information to that. They help kind of provide some intake and then refer you to appropriate services. So this is the phone number for our 24-hour mental health first response service, and it is staffed by mental health professionals and available every day of the year, even on holidays and weekends. I just wanted to give an overview of the services that we offer, so you can see there's a lot. I can't get into every single one of them, but just knowing that we do have a lot of programs that kind of meet the needs of every individual, whether that be psychotherapy, maybe they're facing some problems in court. We have court supports, clinical case management, early detection and intervention. So we have a lot of different programs at CMHA. And then because I always like to share my slides, I just make sure I put all the phone numbers to all the resources within the community that I mentioned. So now specifically want to kind of get into Ride Don't Hide, and just thank the Rotary Club of Chatham-Kent for really helping just move this along. We were kind of on the fence when we first decided to do Ride Don't Hide, only because of the pandemic. It just it changes the whole event. So for those of you who don't know, more traditionally, Ride Don't Hide is a bike ride event that CMHA would hold in a one day in June. But because of COVID, we have transitioned to a fully virtual event. And the idea, and like Barry said, was that you don't have to just ride your bike to raise awareness about mental health, but you can really contribute to this in any way that you want. So whether that be riding inside, working out, playing with your kids, going for a walk. So any movement or self-care is kind of what this program or this event is all about. And instead of it just being one day of June, it's actually the whole month. So you have more time to get involved and really establish healthy habits. So it's not just about being healthy for one day, but trying to really establish that for an entire month and hopefully continue with that. So I really want to say thank you to the Rotary Club for being a Ride Outside sponsor for this year. And from my connection with all of you, I've been able to connect to different Rotary clubs, even throughout Sarnia-Lambton, who are going to be involved as well. So we're hoping that all of you would join the Rotary Club of Chatham-Kent's team. We've already kind of set that all up. So the idea is that each Rotary Club has their own team. So when you log in and register for the event, you'll be able to see how the other Rotary Clubs are doing. And it kind of creates a little bit of a competition that way as well. Just to give you an overview of the event and how it's really had a great impact. The proceeds and the donations from this event go to my department, which is mental health promotion and education. So this allows me to do presentations like this. So I get into different workplaces, talk about mental health, how to reach out if you need help. So we can see in 2017, we did 58 presentations. In 2018, we did 101 presentations. And in 2019, 145. So we've just grown, and Ride Don't Hide really helps to support that because of the donations go directly to being able to do presentations like this one. So we can kind of have an open conversation about Ride Don't Hide because I know people will have a lot of questions, but I also wanted to bring up a really good campaign that just started, and it's called Everything Is Not Okay. This campaign started because there has been, obviously, mental health has been declining, but also because the wait lists for mental health are out of control. And so they want to bring this information to the Ontario government to let them know that everything's not okay and that something needs to change. That different services for mental health need to be covered through OHIP. So this is just a campaign if you'd like to get involved. I just wanted to make everyone aware about it, and there is a petition online if you feel like you would like to be a part of that. And then I just have my information here, but I'll just open the conversation if you guys want to chat about Ride Don't Hide. I'm sure some of you have some questions about that.
Great, thank you, Taylor. Appreciate that. Let me just switch my view to gallery. So first of all, Tom McCarthy, I'm not sure if you saw my little message.
No, I did not.
Okay, would you mind thanking Taylor for us?
Taylor, it's a pleasure to have you with us today. Your articulate explanation of what is a very complex, very, very major contribution to mental health, especially in these difficult times of COVID-19, is truly exceptional and a pleasure to be associated with you. I have myself been involved with CMHA for over a dozen years, and I think that the movement that we see going on here is one of the best that has taken place. So thank you for sharing it with us and for helping to build the enthusiasm for our support and involvement in the Ride Don't Hide for 2020.
Thank you, Tom. I appreciate you stepping up on a very, very short notice. And thanks again from me, Taylor. I would like to open it up. As Taylor had mentioned, and I sent out on the invitation for this, the sign up for Ride Don't Hide. And I'm hoping I'll attach that to the next few things that we send out. We've already got some members that have signed up and are joining in. So we'll put the challenge out to the more that can come and join us on a virtual event, the better. But I do know the first weekend in June, Ride Don't Hide will feature the Rotary Eco Trail. So I'm hoping that I meet a lot of people on that trail. It is just day by day, it's making quite a change in the view that you have while you're there. So come on out, take a look. You might not get counted yet, but just it's a great spot to go. So many families, dog walkers, joggers, cyclists, you got to watch out for them a little bit. So Les, if you're through there on your bicycle, go slow for us old guys. Any questions with regard to Ride Don't Hide or CMHA? We'll start off with Karen, please.
Thank you, Brett. I was just going to ask Taylor if we've had any positive reactions to some of the solicitation that we've been trying to do initially.
Yeah, hi Karen. Yeah, with the help of the Rotary clubs, they've kind of helped connect me to different organizations for sponsorship levels. And so Enbridge has accepted a pretty good sponsorship. So they are going to be one of our main sponsors this year as well. Which is really exciting. And so we have some other ones in the works. I probably just shouldn't say their name until they confirm, but there is a couple. So yeah, and then we also have a few that are going in on a corporate level. So they are being more involved with creating a corporate team and doing some gift matching, which is really great too. So yeah, I think we're gonna have an amazing turnout. Obviously wouldn't be what it is without Rotary. And then that kind of trickled effect into the Rotary clubs of Sarnia-Lambton. They are also going to be involved, and a few of them are also sponsoring. So yeah, it's been great. And just, so thanks, Karen. And just to mention, kind of piggyback off of what Brett was mentioning in terms of the trail. So like I mentioned, this event goes for the entire month of June. So each week in June, we are featuring a different trail. Basically just, you know, gives people the idea of here's a trail, get out there, whether it be biking or walking. So like Brett mentioned, the first week is the Eco Rotary Trail, and then each week will be a different one, and we'll kind of promote that on our social media as well.
And just an update on that. So we've got I think the Rotary Eco Trail was in the first weekend in June, and we'll be out to Rondo to visit the Fries and the Stories, and Peter's around the corner. So that will be the end of June, I think it is.
Yeah, yes, it is.
So
Rondo is.
We're inviting ourselves to come and visit you guys. Any other questions for Taylor? Barry?
Yes, thanks, Brett. Taylor, I'm aware that Ride Don't Hide concept has been operating for since 2010, I think it is, 2011, starting off in Vancouver. This year, I'm aware that there is now an app associated with Ride Don't Hide. Can you explain some background on that and how we might access the app?
Yeah, for sure. So last year, this event was virtual as well, but a lot of the feedback was that there wasn't anything to kind of record your activity automatically. So this year, CMHA National has designed an app, like Barry said, so you can connect if you have an Android or an iPhone. It's available in all of the different app stores. So when you register, you can register online, and then it'll give you kind of a prompt to the app as well. And then if you have like a Fitbit, an Apple Watch, any of those like activity trackers, that will link automatically to your app. So let's say you go out for a walk, then it'll go directly into the app and it'll track. So when other individuals from the Rotary Club go on to the Rotary Club team, they'll see, for instance, Barry did this many kilometers today, whatever it might be. And that just kind of pushes your goal forward and forward. I will mention too, just with registration, there is an optional $25 registration fee. So you don't have to You don't have to register for with $25, but the $25 goes right back to CMHA programs and services. So it's a donation. So just to let you know, when you go on there, it will prompt you and then you just make the decision from there. But yeah, the app, I've been playing around with it. It's pretty user friendly. Like I said, if you have any activity tracker, it just automatically puts it in there for you. So really easy and user friendly.
Great. So we'll be cranking on the kilometers, whether walking or riding or however we do that. But now I will just point out that because this is a virtual event, the picture we saw had those two nice t-shirts. Whoops. Hang on a second. Whoop. Hey, I think it's Jane's screen or somebody's screen. Give us a second. I got it. I took you off, Jane, but nobody can share a screen now. So anyways, there was a couple that had a very nice t-shirt that was on previous events. Now that we're virtual, that's not going to be part of it this year. But what I'm hoping is in years to come, there'll be an event that we can all show up and participate in at the same time. Don't forget, just get out there, walk, ride, do whatever, and support CMHA. The one thing that I like on it is all the accounting goes via CMHA. We don't have to get bothered with that at all. So that definitely helps on our side.
Yeah, we provide any tax receipts and everything like that. So we luckily have an accounting department that helps me with that. So I don't do that directly, but they kind of help me with all those things too. So I will mention, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen in terms of next year for the event, like whether it be virtual or not. But some of the feedback we have gotten is it's really nice to have an in-person event, but some people feel a little bit intimidated going into a bike ride if they don't bike ride themselves, or just sometimes it's hard to show up, you know, to an event. They might not really want to do that. So this has kind of opened the door for people to really participate all month long. It's not one day, and they can participate any way that they want. So they're not forced to bike ride if they don't want to. So I think, you know, things are going to change with the event, but I think just gaining that feedback from everybody. I think the virtual is still good. I know it's not the same, but we try to engage people the whole month as best as that we can. And with the app, there's different challenges every week too that'll try to kind of push you. Maybe do you want to try yoga this week? And then we have a yoga video. So there's lots of different ways to participate. So
great. Thanks again, Taylor. Any other questions for Taylor?
President Brett, I'd like to point out that when I registered into the club page for Ride Don't Hide, when I made the donation, it came back so slick. It is quite easy, and I still haven't done the app yet, but this reminds me that I want to get the app too to tie in with the Fitbit I carry. And so I'm willing to enter into competition with whoever else is here in the club.
Challenge accepted. And I know a few others have gone in to join the team as well. So the more the merrier. And once we get everybody on there, we still got lots of time between now and then, but for me, it's get signed up now before I forget about doing the sign up process. So again, thank you, Taylor. And just move on to a couple of other things. I did my thank you about those that were present this morning and helped carry in 50 boxes of bingo tickets. Next week, our speaker will be Marianne Wilson. She'll be speaking to us on CK Pride. And last chance, anybody for the District 6380 training, That is 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock on Saturday. April 24, at the moment, we are still planning on doing our District 6380 watershed cleanup, and CK pitch-in is at the same time. Have not heard that any of them are canceling. Once we know how many are going to attend, we may split ourselves up into smaller groups, but right now we're going to do 2 places, the Rotary Park crossed on Thames Street from the Rotary office, as well as the Eco Trail and Midwood Oxley Park. Municipality is going to drop us off some mulch, so we'll try and line up a few wheelbarrows to be able to load that in and take it to some of the trees in those neighborhoods. And I'm just going to mention that Chandra is coming in with a team, and we're going after a vine that's been coming from the encroachment properties, and try to get some cleanup done on that. At that point, Chandra, just make sure they've got long sleeves, just in case the poison ivy's decided to show up by this time. At least that's what I'm thinking. And long pants too, I guess. And let's see, so that is April 24, basically 9 o'clock till 12 o'clock. And the other thing I was planning to do is one of our bingo winners last week won $1,000. And when she came in and picked up her check, she dropped off a $50 bill. So we'll get some coffee out to our 2 sites to have a cup of coffee available while we're there. Let's see, so that's pretty much it. I got the thank yous in place. Anybody know any other corporate sponsors? They can put them in touch with Taylor. Never too late, I don't think, to squeeze somebody in. Let's see, Tanya, you got a quick message there. April 24, Tanya, I'll put you down.
Okay,
So
thanks.
gotcha. Okay, any other questions, thoughts, something that we can't live without? No, so Julia, if you're available, I'll ask you to play our favorite song, please. Thank you, Julia. Thanks again, Taylor. Stay safe, everybody.